Welcome to Spiritual Trews for Russell Brand. Spiritual Dessert Trews. It's getting late. Episode 33. Yay! Episode 33. I've got my crazy festive wild party hat on, and we are still working on the book Biocentrism, and we're talking still about that falling tree. Does things exist even when there's no observer? And people are quick to answer that of course, of course a tree makes a sound if no one's nearby. But they're merely demonstrating their inability to ponder an event that nobody attended. They're finding it too difficult to take themselves out of the equation. They somehow continue to imagine themselves present even when they're absent. Now consider a lit candle placed on a table in that same empty forest. This is not advisable. No, especially when it's dry. But let's pretend Smokey the Bear is supervising the whole thing and with an extinguisher and it's ready, while we consider whether the flame has intrinsic brightness and a yellow color when nobody's watching. Even if we contradict quantum experiments and allow that electrons and all other particles have assumed actual positions in the absence of observers, this flame is still merely a hot gas. Like any source of light, it emits photons, or tiny packets of waves of electromagnetic energy, and each consists of electrical and magnetic pulses. These momentary exhibitions of electricity and magnetism are the whole show, the nature of light itself. It is easy to recall from everyday experience that neither electricity nor magnetism have visual properties. So, on its own, it's not hard to grasp that there is nothing inherently visual, nothing bright or colored about the candle flame. Now let these same invisible electromagnetic waves strike a human retina. And if, and only if, the waves each happen to measure between 400 and 700 nanometers in length from crest to crest, then their energy is just right to deliver a stimulus to the 8 million cone-shaped cells in the retina. Each in turn sends an electrical pulse to a neighbor neuron, and off the line it goes at 250 miles per hour until it reaches the warm, wet, occipital lobe of the brain. Almost sounded a little wild there. In the back of the head. There, a cascading complex of neurons fire from the incoming stimuli, and we subjectively perceive this experience as a yellow brightness. Other creatures receiving the identical stimulus will experience something altogether different, such as a perception of gray, or even an entirely dissimilar sensation. The point is, there isn't a bright yellow light out there at all. At most, there's an invisible stream of electrical and magnetic pulses. Were totally necessary for the experience of what we'd call a yellow flame. Again, it's correlative. What about if you touch something? Isn't it solid? Push on the trunk of the tree. You feel the pressure? But this too is a sensation strictly inside of your brain and only projected to your fingers, whose existence also lies within your mind. Moreover, that sensation of pressure is caused not by any contact with the solid, but by the fact that every atom has negatively charged electrons in its outer shells. As we all know, charges of the same type repel each other. So the bark's electrons repel yours, and you feel this electrical repulsive force stopping your fingers from penetrating any further. Nothing solid ever meets any other solids when you push on a tree. The atoms in your fingers are each as empty as a vacant football stadium in which a single fly sits on the 50-yard line. If we needed solids to stop us, our fingers could easily penetrate the tree, as if we were swiping at fog. Consider an even more intuitive example: rainbows. The sudden appearance of those prismatic colors juxtaposed between mountains can take our breath away, but the truth is, we're absolutely necessary for the rainbow's existence. When nobody's there simply is no rainbow. Now, that again, you might be thinking, but hang in there. This time it's more obvious than ever. 3 components are necessary for a rainbow. There must be sun, there must be raindrops, and there must be a conscious eye. Or its surrogate, film. At the correct geometric location, if your eyes look directly opposite the sun, that is, at the anti-solar point, which is always marked by the shadow of your head, the sunlit water droplets will produce a rainbow that surrounds that precise spot at a distance of 42 degrees. But your eyes must be located at that spot where the refracted light from the sunlight droplets converges to complete the required geometry. A person next to you will complete his or her own geometry and will be at the apex of a cone for an entirely different set of droplets. Oh, it's working. This bedtime story's working. Should we dream of the rainbows? Their rainbow is very likely to look like yours, but need not be so. The droplets that their eyes intercept may be of a different size, and larger droplets make for a more vivid rainbow, while at the same time robbing it of blue. Then too, if the sunlight droplets are very nearby, as from a lawn sprinkler, the person nearby may not see the rainbow at all. Your rainbow is yours alone. But now we get to our point. What if no one's there? Answer: no rainbow. Interesting. An eye-brain system, or its surrogate, like a camera, whose results will only be viewed later by a conscious observer, must be present to complete the geometry. As real as the rainbow looks, it requires your presence as much as it requires sun and rain. Does that mean all things, even negative things, requires your presence? Do negative things not exist unless your attention is focused on them? So the news, if you're focused on negativity and bad news, do you then produce and bring about more bad news? Yeah, this is how it works. It's the law of attraction. So keep your thoughts positive. You'll attract positive things. So, we're still talking about rainbows from the 5th grade science class. Well, this pretty much leads to the first principle of biocentrism, and that is, what we perceive as reality is a process that involves our consciousness. Pleasant dreams. Kiss, kiss.